to be an actress.
She ever do anything I would have seen?
I think her biggest deal was she starred in a pilot.
What's a pilot?
Well, you know, the shows on TV.
I don't watch TV.
Yes, but you're aware that there's an invention called television, and on that invention they show shows?
Yeah.
Well, the way they pick the shows on TV is that they make one show, and that show is called a pilot, and they show that one show to the people who pick the shows, and on that strength of that one show, they decide if they want to make more shows. So get accepted and become TV programs. And some don't and become nothing. Some don't become nothing. She starred in one of those that became nothing.
Welcome to Couch Pilots, all of my friends. It's the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason, and given a choice between Betty and Veronica, I'd pick him every time. It's Captain Philip, rest assured. Good evening, I love you.
Good evening, I love you too. I'm kind of honored that you would pick me because
That's the right feeling to have.
yeah, it's nice. I'm not gonna go dive deep into it, but
Betty and Veronica, both babes in their own right. But if they said you could choose between one or the other, I say give me Blake Clayton or my God, give me death. That's what I
appreciate that, buddy.
The Archies singing "Sugar Sugar." The Archies is a real band, I guess, but it was kind of like
It was kind of like the Monkees in regards to like
kind of. I was thinking more like who are those guys? Oh, the Gorillas. Do you know the Gorillas?
oh yeah, it was just all their videos were like animated. And, yeah.
It's like the
You never saw them.
yeah, but they were known people like Del the Funky Homo Sapien. One or two of the guys were from Blur. They're all like English guys. But they every time you saw them, it was like a cartoon. And Archie was a cartoon.
Yeah.
And the Archies were like, it's interesting. But that was a huge hit for them, though.
Yeah, that was a huge
Whoever
hit.
they were.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, last week we talked about next week we'll talk about a tonal shift. I forgot we're recording these out of order. Before we bring our guests in, I wanted to ask you about the bowling alley. You recently said, the Moose is no longer for me. I spend every day and night at the Moose. I'm not doing it anymore. But you said, I want to supplement my income. And you started working at the local bowling alley.
Sure.
So you got your normal job, your 9 to 5. How many days a week are you working at the bowling alley?
Just one.
And are you liking it?
Yeah, I don't like teenagers. I hate teenagers.
You're the only guy I know that's more of a curmudgeon than me.
I have took curmudgeonness and like absorbed it and like made myself stronger because of it.
That's what you think. So, do you get a discount at the bowling alley now?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
get free soda when I'm working.
Free soda pop. You like a teenager.
I get a discount at
But
bowling.
are you enjoying it, though? Because that's what really counts. And you're making a little extra scratch.
Yeah, I'm making extra scratch. It's all good.
Okay. And you liking it, all right?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad. It's. I know there's access to booze there, but like seemingly less access than where you previously worked.
Yeah, it's a bother to get to it.
And we know when it comes to booze, my God, you can't be bothered, right?
No, for sure.
All right, let's bring in our guest. This is the guest who we've had guests before that have the same blood as me. This person has half of the same blood as me. Should I? I should probably do the introduction.
You should probably do the intro.
If you read the Bible, it says, go forth and repopulate the earth. I don't know what that means.
Sure.
People go out there and they have children. I said, I'm going to have one child.
Just one.
And I'll be done. And that child is here today as a returning champion. Thank you for coming back to the show, Lorelai.
Hello.
Do you feel honored that your father has said, I'm not having any more, just the one? Just the one's all I need?
Yes.
Does it?
Yes.
You don't have to worry about... You don't have to worry about competing for his love and affection or anything like that, or his money when he dies.
Exactly. That's the way it should be.
It should be.
Well, that's on your dad's side. You have a mom. I was with your mom. I dated your mom for
so.
4 years, and you have half brothers on that side.
I do. I have 2 half brothers and 2 step brothers currently.
And
Wow.
what the oldest half brother lives out of the house, but inside you've got 4 kids. It's kind of madness, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're all males, so
Yeah.
Wow.
Just you and your mom, the only ones holding
still
down
an
the fort.
outcast. Yes, yes.
Great band, by the way.
Outcast?
Yeah.
Oh, they're great. Your mom loved Outcast.
I know she did.
Yeah. I remember that. That's it's interesting. There's a lot to talk about with Lorelai. She hasn't been on the show in years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But a lot of things have been going on with her. Specifically, yesterday was your birthday. At the time of recording, yesterday was your birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. It
Wow.
was my birthday
How old
yesterday.
did you turn?
I turned 17
It's
yesterday.
insane. Isn't that crazy?
I remember when I met her, she was a very, very little young girl.
Probably when you
6
first
or
met her,
7.
well, probably 8 or 9, because I don't
I
think
thought like 12.
you didn't know her for the first probably year or two.
Sure. No, yeah, you're right.
But
Yeah, that's cool. She's grown up.
17. She had a birthday party at like a hipster restaurant locally, and
Okay.
it was a fun event. You said 26 of your closest friends showed up. Is that right?
Yes.
You have not family, just friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Have you ever been to Time?
I mean, there would have been more, but
Have you been to Time in Peoria?
Yeah, I think I have.
They have a loft space, and we reserved that. And
Nice.
she filled it to the brim with all her friends.
For your canceria. What's it called?
Oh, quinceañera is for a Mexican 15-year-old, but for a half Asian 17-year-old, I don't know what that's called. What would you call that?
not a quinceañera. That's what I
Okay.
would.
A Szechuan's-era?
Szechuan chicken.
I dated an Asian lady, so I can say things like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But you can't. I won't allow it.
No,
I
don't
don't know if that applies to you.
think. You don't think so?
Well, then why did I do it?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Like, the best day of my life ever happened as a result of it.
No, that's awesome.
So that's right.
That's cool.
Anyway, I'm very proud of this young lady. Yesterday, with her birthday, it was the first time that I met not only her current, but any boyfriend that she's had.
Any?
It's the first time I met her. You had a boyfriend like a year ago. You dated for like a month or two. But this new one you've dated for a few months. And I think you were a little nervous for me to meet him.
Not really. I was
No?
just really curious of what you guys were to. I was just really curious of what you guys were going to talk about.
Well, he showed up early, and so did I, to help set up for the party. So I got a chance to talk to him for a minute. How do you think that went? And is there anything I should have talked to him about that I didn't?
I think it went well. I mean, I've never done this before, so I don't have any experiences or anything to compare it to. So it went well.
But there's always like stories from other friends or like sitcom cliches of
Sure.
things that happen. Did you have any of those like preconceptions about that going in?
I have thought of it, but I wasn't worried about it because I just know you guys, so it wasn't.
You had confidence in both of the gentlemen that they would. That
Yeah,
they
that's
would,
really weird, but yeah, I did actually.
Yeah.
He's a nice kid.
Is he anything like your dad?
Does he seem anything like my dad?
Yeah.
They have some similarities, like
Big foreheads.
no, not that.
Just give him time.
That's just
Receding
him.
hairline.
No, I was gonna say like
A love for hoodies.
like actors, like you guys like the same actors and you guys watch kind of sort of the same stuff.
We did both say that we like Oscar Isaac yesterday.
See, I don't even know who that is. So
that's
it's good that
Moon
you
Knight.
guys-
We're talking about Moon Knight. That's the main guy.
Oh yeah. That's right. I was there. I was there.
Lorelai, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it was your birthday, and it is a big deal. I would think. I remember when I was young introducing my girlfriend to my mom, obviously, because that's the most important person in my life.
Right.
I couldn't even imagine, being a daughter and introducing your boyfriend to your dad. And I think it's super cool that you didn't have any anxiety about it, and you made a statement that you kind of had confidence in both of these people that are in your lives, and you were cool with it. And I think that's super awesome. I think that says a lot for your father. I think it says for your guys' relationship, and I think it says a lot for this young man.
Well, yeah, because I don't know, like me and my dad, we just have a lot of similarities, so and he's also just like a calm person. I can't say the same about my mom. If anything, I'm more nervous about him meeting my mother.
He has not met your mother yet?
He has, but not really. Like, it's been like
In the driveway.
Hey, it's like, hey, how you doing? Good, how are you? See ya. Like, like very short
He called me Mr. Tosher, which I don't really get.
That's weird.
It was weird. Nice kid.
I mean, I used to call you that when we first started hanging out.
Because I asked you to.
Right.
I asked you to address me as such.
Well, did you say to call him? Please call me Jason.
No.
You don't want that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Well,
you don't want to give that up right off the bat. You don't want to
right,
give yeah.
True.
Right, yeah. There is. It's a weird line because not all old people should be respected. There's a lot of scumbag old people. There's a lot of immature, idiot old people. But at the same time, there is like when a teacher says, I know it says my name's Mrs. Billingsley, call me Janet. No. There's a certain, you have to maintain a certain level of respect and stuff. And I'm not saying he was totally respectful. He's a nice kid, but I'm not ready for my daughter's boyfriend to call me Jason.
Right. No, that makes sense.
I hope I'm not being a jerk about that.
No, I think you handled it correctly. And to be honest with you, with the way kids are nowadays, I'm sorry, I'm going to call you a kid because that's, but for him to respect that throughout, that says something about him too. Because most kids be like, hey.
No, yeah, he's a nice kid. I think he's a honor student, like good grades,
True.
Gifted. Like he's a good kid, a baseball player.
All the chromosomes and everything.
Yes, actually.
The appropriate amount of chromosomes. That's right.
Nice hair.
Good, great head of hair on him.
Yeah. Is that what you guys had in common?
I remember though I dated a lady just a few years ago, and I met her parents, and I said, "Hey, Mr. So and so," and he said, "No, call me by my first name." And I'm 38, 39 years old. I get that. I couldn't. Every time I saw him, I would call him Mister. Because even as a middle-aged guy, I wanted to be respectful,
sure.
And it would always take for him to tell me, "No, please call me by my first name," and I would. But even at my age, I just wanted to be respectful to the next generation.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I don't think I could do that either, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Call someone you're dating by their parents' first name. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It is weird.
Have you met your boyfriend's parents?
Yeah, I have. His mom is really sweet and is really nice, and his dad is like, he looks really intimidating, but he's not. Yeah. Actually, he's actually not. But they're both really nice. Mm-hmm. They ask a lot of questions. It's good.
He seemed like a good kid. And that is 100% a reflection of his parents. So I would imagine his parents are probably good people. Right. If they see each other long enough, I look forward to meeting them as well.
Can you take your headphones off for a second?
I would love to. Yeah, absolutely.
I could do Uncle Blake mode.
Oh, sure.
Or your dad's not listening right now, but just as an uncle that you didn't ask for.
What do you mean?
If there's a problem, I will kill this motherfucker. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
If he's bad to you, I'll take him out.
Okay, that's good. Honestly, I will really keep that in mind. All right. Trust me.
I'm the second person you call. Call your dad first, then call me. I won't answer, or I'll just say okay. But if I don't
you won't answer because you're too busy on the way, right?
No, I just don't want to go anywhere.
Oh, okay.
But if you bring him over here, there's a problem. I got your back.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Jason, you go ahead and put your headphones back on.
Put back on?
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. Thank you. All right. There's a couple more things I want to ask Lorelai, and this is a good chance for you too to talk to the current generation about what's hip, what's ongoing. Now, Lorelai and I have a pretty open relationship. We talk about things pretty candidly. There's a lot of things in her social life that I don't know the details of. That's on purpose. I don't need to know everything. There's plenty going on with her that I don't know about, I'm sure.
Right, but you've raised a daughter that you can feel comfortable with that.
I trust her.
Yeah.
Her cement is dry 10 years. There's nothing I can do to change her, and I don't want to. I trust her implicitly, and I love her. But I do have questions from time to time. And one of the questions is about,
why do kids your age like Greta Van Fleet?
Yeah, that's my
question. That's a huge question of mine.
I don't think she's the right demographic. I think it's the 20s, isn't it? Do you know Greta?
Nope.
Yeah.
It sounds like Led Zeppelin. Exactly.
No, that's like late 20 douchebag.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
My question to you is...
what do you think about slut cars?
Yeah, my question to you is like finish each other's sentences. No, high school parties. I know we've talked about this some. You go to a lot of parties.
Yes.
You're a popular lady. I know there's plenty of booze and there's plenty of weed at parties. What other drugs have you come in contact with at these parties?
I've never come in contact with them. I mean, I've never come in contact with them, but I do hear about them. Like, I know there's this one kid. Who has done acid already.
And we need his date of birth and full name.
That's confidential. And this isn't at a party, but one time.
It's good to know she's not a narc.
One time last year, there was this girl who sniffed cocaine in the school bathroom. So they said we cannot go to the bathroom during class anymore. We can only go during passing periods.
Because of that one supposed incident?
Yes.
Weird.
I know. Trust me. It was an inconvenience for all.
This is what a dork I was. Between classes, me and like Matt would like screw around in the bathroom and just like joke around and have fun, versus someone doing hardcore narcotics.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird. And this person was a sophomore last year, so.
Yeah.
For me, like when I think back in high school, when I was in high school,
Yeah.
like so it was my freshman sophomore year, like freshman year, sophomore year, like I took Epiderm, which was trucker speed that you could get at the gas station.
Yeah.
And like to me, I was like, I'm a rebel, and like and there's a girl sniffing cocaine as a sophomore. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's when I was in high school too, it's kind of like it was the birth of I just chugged a bottle of cough syrup and it is super messed me up.
Sure, like Dimetap.
I think they called it Robitussin.
Robitussin.
They called it Robin.
Okay.
It's so stupid.
Robin.
Get them high schoolers.
Hey,
Robin.
and I'll be honest with you. This weekend I was under the weather, and I have put back a lot of NyQuil.
Oh boy!
Not gonna lie, Lorelai, take your headphones off. It's not a bad buzz, to be honest with you. Not a bad buzz.
I did chug some cough syrup at school once, but because I was sick, I think it took a little bit more than I should have, and it was the most out of my own mind that I'd ever been at that point.
That Epiderm, when I took that Epiderm, there was nothing exciting about it. There was nothing that felt good about it. Like I took some, it didn't hit me. I took some more, and then it all hit me at once, and I felt horrible.
Out of your mind.
It was disgustingly.
What is my policy on that kind of stuff?
Control yourself. Yes. Well, it's confusing. Like you trust me, but just don't be stupid.
I think my policy,
or maybe just repeat it. Repeat
We might need
repeat it for all of us to hear.
My policy, and I think I've said it on this show.
Yeah, you have.
Is that I know kids are going to go out there and they're going to experiment, and I'm fine with alcohol is sold at stores. It goes through some sort of regulation. It gets to a bottle or a can. I know kids are going to mess around with it. It's fine. That stuff's regulated. Now cannabis, more than ever, is regulated. I was at Goodwill down the street before I came here. There's a cannabis store right next to it. It is regulated. They've been, like Louis C.K. says, they've been working on it like it's freaking cancer, and as far as how potent it can be now, but it is regulated. Anything other than that, it's illegal, and you're rolling the dice with what someone's done to it.
Right.
Pills, fentanyl, coke, you cut it with stuff. You don't know what you're getting. I understand wanting to experiment with certain things, but I would say maybe limit it to those things, because beyond that, you don't know what you're getting. It's a roll of the die. I never want my daughter to live in fear. I just want her to be mindful and call me if she ever needs anything.
And always hold on to your drink the whole time you're at a party.
I definitely said that to her, too.
Yes, of course.
So we have a pretty, I think, open relationship as far as dialogue goes in that sense. I hope you feel the same.
Yes.
One other thing I want to mention to you is you went to Puerto Rico recently, which is awesome.
Yes.
And
it was amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like it was really awesome. I saw a ton of pictures, a lot of cool stuff. And just the other day, her and I went and we submitted forms for passports.
Ooh.
So you might be going to Mexico soon.
Yes.
Any updates on that? And if you do go, what would you do?
The only updates I've gotten on this about this trip was it's not going to be like an authentic experience. It's going to be, we're going to stay at a resort, and we're going to be at the beach all day, and we're going to go to a nice dinner and basically be relaxed, do different things. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be like an authentic experience.
Tourist,
like
resort based.
Tourist.
Yeah,
yes.
you're not going to go
tourist bound
to the local town and, Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah,
like, who's doing that? Like, no one's doing
Well,
that.
It's not safe to do that.
Here's the thing. You're going to find the absolute best food probably at those local towns, but someone might stab you.
Yeah.
Right.
But I just feel like it's worth it.
Worth the stabbing? Yeah, you might be right. Who knows?
I went to Mexico. And
on a cruise, right?
I went on a cruise, and I also went to Mexico to a resort. And I know that we left that resort and went on a little excursion.
Got stabbed 5 times.
And to be honest with you, I was so uncomfortable that whole time. I did not enjoy that at all.
That's just that's you, though.
I did not enjoy it at all.
What did you do when you left the resort area?
Well, we went to this little shopping center, and we went around the little town, and it was scary. It was scary, almost as scary as when this person said, "Hey, I booked us a scuba diving excursion," and I was like, we've been dating for a while. This has never had to come up, but I don't know how to swim.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're not buoyant.
I'm not buoyant. I don't know how to float. I don't know how to swim. And then we get in there. We get to the boat and we go out. And I got to act like a macho guy. Right? I still can't tell her I don't know how to swim. Right?
Yeah.
And then we get to where we get the little snorkel thing. Right? The little snorkel thing. And my anxiety kicks in. And then the guy says, "Oh, by the way, there's jellyfish you'll encounter. Stay away." They
got a story about that.
And he said, "Stay away from them." Well, for a guy that doesn't know how to swim, float, or maneuver himself in the water, that's almost impossible.
Blake's got... He's probably the friend that I have that has the most anxiety. Little things like that trigger him. They can ruin a day. They alter his mood instantly.
I am going through a serious anxiety attack right now, as we speak.
As we speak?
As we speak.
What's happening? Not going to talk about it.
Not.
Sometimes
Wow.
it just happens.
Yeah. sometimes
Maybe
it
him
happens.
just talking about the experience got to him.
Oh, maybe so. Is there
No.
anything that I can do to help?
No.
How about some beer? Would you like a nice frosty cold beer?
No, this is the last one.
Okay. We got a whole show to do still. If there's anything else I was going to ask you, I think that's about it. Anything you want to talk about? A public forum, things to ask old guys?
No.
No? Were you happy with your birthday?
Yes.
How's your remote start on your car? You find that helpful?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Is that what you got her for your birthday?
For Christmas.
Oh, nice.
For her birthday, we got it was kind of like the passport, the Puerto Rico trip, the birthday party thing.
Oh, yeah,
It's kind of
for
all-
sure.
yeah.
I do have a question. So you are 17 now, so you're finishing up your junior year?
Yes.
So you're heading into your senior year.
Yes.
And have you started to think about A, what you want to be when you grow up, and B, what type of college, if college is in your, have you started to think about that yet?
Yes, I have. I'm interested in interior design, a realtor.
How's my apartment down here look?
It's interesting. It really says you. It really
does.
fits you perfectly.
It really says me.
It fits you perfectly, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. And school-wise?
Michigan State has a really good design program. But if not that, I really wouldn't mind going to ISU or going to ICC for a couple of years to save up and then go wherever I'd want to.
I think your aunt did interior design at ICC.
She did.
Yeah.
I would, not that my opinion matters, but I think going to ICC, getting the crummy classes out of the way at a cheaper price. Mm-hmm. But you will not be going to Illinois State University. I will not let you do that.
Oh, okay.
I hate Illinois State University, so.
Whatever.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I don't even want to know why. I don't care what his beef is with it.
Me either.
Lorelei's known me long enough. She's like, I don't care what Blake says.
Today's
It could be anything.
Today's pie is called Archie to Riverdale and Back Again. Archie is, I would say, outside of superheroes, the most iconic comic that we have as a nation under God.
Sure. For sure. I would say so, too.
It's just a comic about high school buddies farting around.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Right?
Yeah, it started out as a comic strip, right? Or did?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So that, I mean,
A comic strip, and then it's comic books. I think I have some information, very interesting facts about it. But one of the main reasons I wanted Lorelei here today is because when we were growing up, a few times when I would take her to sales and stuff or out in the world, she would kind of fixate on Archie.
okay.
And years later, there was an Archie revolution with the show Riverdale, kind of a more harder, like a hard PG-13 look at Archie, and I think it was on like the WB or something, which is a station geared towards 20-somethings,
Right.
teenagers and 20-somethings.
Dawson's Creek kind of stuff.
Do you remember when you were little wanting like Archie comics or like those Archie joke books and stuff?
Yes. I want to say pretty often.
Hell, what's that?
I don't know. Sometimes pretty often we would go to a comic store and you would take forever in there and I would only look at the Archie comics.
What drew you to that? Do you remember? I mean, obviously you were very young, but I didn't know if something stuck out. Was it the bright colors?
It was definitely like the bright colors, like, and like, you know, I could barely read, so it's just like I was really confused with the whole thing, but like I memorized the names. And I was always just curious who Archie was going to pick. And me not knowing how to read, I never got the answer. So I just kept fixating on it. And I don't know. Pretty girls, big smiles, orange hair caught my eye. Oh, red hair, sorry. Caught my eye.
I think the store that she looked at would find that would be Acme Comics on Glen and War Memorial.
Yep.
I would go there maybe...
by the Larry Club?
Yeah. I would go there maybe once or twice a month. And I'd go and look around at different things. And she was a child. She was with me on the weekend, so I would take her in there. And in a sea of, like, dark and gloomy comics, I bet Archie did stick out like a sore thumb, especially to a young child. I remember taking her in there, and the owner would give me dirty looks like I had a little kid thumbing through something, you know, whatever. Screw that guy. Anyway, was there a correlation from you being little, looking at these brightly colored Archie joke books or comics? Is there a correlation between that and being interested in the WB's television show Riverdale?
Well, when I heard about Riverdale, I had no idea it had anything to do with that.
Okay.
I kind of, if anything, I caught on by myself. As I got to know the characters, I was like, oh, Archie, I've never heard that name except for only in a comic. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just a coincidence. And then I heard Veronica, and then I heard Betty, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is definitely...
Yeah.
And that is the first thing I thought of, the comics.
Yeah.
So...
Well, the Riverdale is kind of a darker look. Are you familiar with that program at all, Blake?
No, we were, kind of pull the curtains. We were talking about it just a minute ago before we started, and I didn't put two and two together. I never saw Riverdale, but I didn't know it was in the same canon.
It had one of the kids in Big Daddy, the Adam Sandler movie. He had that child, but it was played by twins, and those twins would go on.
Twins?
Thank you. They would go on to be Disney stars with The Sweet Life with Zach and Cody and like Sweet Life on Deck. I think it was this kind of the sequel show to that. It was two twin boys playing these main characters. And in Riverdale, I think the Jughead character is played by one of them, right?
Yes, it would be Cole Sprouse.
Okay, cool. The Sprouse twins. And then one of the guys on the show,
Twins?
one of the main guys on the show, and I know you have to know this name or I'll be very disappointed. One of the main guys on the fathers on the show was Luke Perry.
Okay, yeah. R.I.P.
And yeah, they unfortunately
They had a funeral for him on the show.
Oh, really?
In the show.
Well, and this was post 9/11. 90210. 90210. 90210.
Yeah, let's never forget 90210.
Did you know the Luke Perry's son is a professional wrestler?
I didn't know that.
His name's Jungle Boy.
Yeah. He's
Looks exactly like him.
pretty popular. Does he have the sideburns like his dad? Oh, please.
No, well, he has long curly hair, but the face-wise, he looks exactly like him.
His Luke Perry in the early 90s became famous as like a teen heartthrob.
Like a James Dean lookalike is all.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. But he also had these like big side. He brought sideburns back to like the main. Like it was kind of a thing. Like in the 70s, you saw a guy with big mutton chops.
And I didn't watch a bunch of 90210, but he probably had like a white T-shirt on with like the sleeves rolled up. He had to have.
He was cool, man. I watched like
He drive
the
a
first
motorcycle?
season or two. I don't know. Probably like an old muscle car, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, Luke Perry was cool. It's a super bummer that he's Shannon Doherty, who played Brenda Walsh in Beverly Hills 9/11. She starred in the episode where he died. Like she was like I think he died in a car wreck on the show.
So
right?
okay, let me get this straight.
I think so.
Yeah,
it's been a while. It's either that or I think that's it. Yeah. Either that or somebody murdered him.
So he passed away while he was on this show, and so they had to write that into the show.
Yes.
Okay.
Like they had it was like a nice sentimental funeral. That was like to start off a episode.
I feel like that's the modern thing to do. In the past, if someone wants to quit or get fired or if they
You just
die,
write them off.
I replace sometimes.
Okay.
I think in the past it's been that, but the modern equivalent of that, and we saw it recently with the Wakanda Forever movie in the Marvel universe when Chadwick Boseman died. They write these people off, and they kill them, and they do it as respectfully as possible. And I imagine they did that on Riverdale. Are you don't watch the show anymore? Is that right?
I don't know.
What happened?
Is it still on?
Yes. I want to say after the third season, things started getting weird. Like, things didn't add up or make sense. I know the first season is like about either the first or second season. It's about like a serial killer, and it's like it's okay. I guess it's a fictional show, but like it could be like if someone were to say that's a true story, I'd believe them because you know what I mean. Like
it's got its foot in reality.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so it's about a serial killer. Or do you care if I spoil it?
I'm not going to watch Riverdale.
I didn't think you were going to, but Betty finds out she's related to this serial killer. I won't tell you how, but she finds out she's related, and she has, and her whole family has these the serial killer
like DNA.
DNA.
So
yeah,
they tracked it to a certain DNA bloodline.
Yeah,
You know it was. Yeah.
And then like, you know, it got weirder. Like I think the third or fourth season, it had something to do with like satanic. Like sacrifices and stuff like that, like stuff to do
Cult
with that.
stuff.
Cult stuff,
Okay.
yes, that. And it tied in with like a game everyone played and like drugs and stuff. And then like the most recent season, like there's lasers coming out of this girl's hands. Like it doesn't make sense. We've never introduced this before. It came out of nowhere.
What I find is that
and that is just that drove me away.
When a show gets weird like that, that tells me like. Oh, those guys ran out of ideas.
Right,
and now,
for sure.
Now they're
Yeah.
just trying to, they're
Right.
pissing around trying to find up new storylines, which is too bad because it's still a valuable property.
Right.
Anyway, I mentioned before, but I will say again, today we discussed the pilot episode of Archie to Riverdale and Back Again, and this happens to be from the year of our Lord, 1900 plus 90. Great year, 1990. Remember that, Blake?
1990.
You all right?
Huh?
Baby Tywood?
He's having an anxiety attack, remember?
Yeah,
I'm going to tuck him in later.
19.
He won't like that. You're going to give him more
He's going
anxiety.
to love it.
I was 15.
I was 9. Lorelai, how old were you in 1990?
Negative something.
16. Negative 16.
Okay.
Say it.
You already said it.
Negative 16.
Everyone can hear you.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Let's go back to 1990
In our minds.
and to do so, we'll talk about some things that happened that year, so we can be in the proper mind frame of when Archie was released.
Right, because we're in 2023 right now. Okay?
Oh, that is true. Thank you.
And I completely will probably screw this up next week.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you will. There's a couple things that you were super rusty on next week that I made note of.
But
He's barely doing it now.
so there, we can't look at a pilot from 1990 based off of the standards of today. I mean, there's a lot of things that we have today that we didn't have back then. Chinese surveillance balloons. Right?
True,
We
yeah.
didn't have those back.
I have heard of that. I did hear that.
And
My daughter has nothing to do with that. It's racist to think so.
See, now it's just weird because nobody said anything about it but you.
Blake was thinking it. We finish each other's
Sandwiches.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
we also did not have LSD in 1990.
There was no Dr. Timothy Leary to hand out doses of LSD. It
Right.
just didn't happen then.
And we did not have Band-Aids
Thank you for
in
saying
1990.
Here's
So, I
something.
mean, you have to take that into consideration.
Absolutely.
Don't judge this pilot off today's standards.
Here's some things that did happen back in, February of 1990. Smoking is banned on all cross-country flights in the United States. Blake, you love smoking more than anything in this world. Where, if anywhere, should smoking be allowed?
I am a smoker. I love being a smoker. I will be a smoker until I die.
Which will be very soon.
But to be honest with you, like I watch old movies and stuff, and you think about they used to be inside of an airplane, and there was multiple people smoking in this, and like even restaurants. Like I don't mind that I can't smoke in a restaurant. It does not bother me. Even in a bar, it does not bother me. And I don't remember. I would say 2 weeks ago, I was at somebody's house, and they're like, "Oh, you can go ahead and smoke if you want to in the house." And
That was as a smoker yourself, it was off-putting.
I lost my mind. I was like, "Are you serious?" But I can't imagine. And it kind of you think of it in like the 50s and 60s, where they're smoking on an airplane, and I remember we used to work at Caterpillar. We had all those rehires,
Yeah.
and they were always talking about how they sat and smoked at their desk.
The good old days when everyone
And I was just
coughed.
like, that just sounds disgusting. You know what I mean?
It is funny how old places that did exist back then, sometimes there's a kind of a staleness
Sure.
to the air. I do miss bars. Like there's bars having people smoking. I didn't mind that because there's already like a seediness
Sure.
to bars in general. So I kind of miss that. Laurel, you weren't around in a time where you could smoke in restaurants, but there'd be a smoking section and a non-smoking section, and you're probably thinking, well, that's kind of cool that they gave the smokers their own room with a partition. Nope, open aired. There's nothing dividing smoking and non-smoking sections.
When we go to Iowa
Yeah.
to gamble, the two casinos that we go to, there's a smoking section to that casino and a non-smoking section.
Right.
The only difference is if you carry your ashtray to a slot machine that doesn't have an ashtray there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There is a novelty of it that I do miss.
Sure.
You ever smoke a cigarette before?
No, I've never smoked a cigarette.
Any interest in it at all?
It looks cool, but no, I don't. I think I just hate the smell too much. I think it would just bother me, even if I were to try it, or even if I was even wanting to, or just being curious. I think the smell would just bother me too much.
It's disgusting. It stinks. It does stink.
No judgment.
There's an important
You're
distinction
17.
there.
I'm
Yes, you do.
well-
You care what kids think. About it.
Well, I mean, you hate teenagers.
The
so
distinction is
I shouldn't say anything.
That's true. Smoking does look cool.
Oh, it does look fucking cool.
Well,
Look, I'm looking right in front of
Sorry.
me. Look at that lady.
You're looking at a Hellbound Glory vinyl cover, and there is a lady smoking on it. And guess what? Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Looks pretty cool. Hey, February 9th, the Steven Seagal classic Hard to Kill is released. Left for dead with his wife killed in their house, L.A. detective Mason Storm will have to make a quick recovery, expose those behind the murder, and take revenge. Steven Seagal. What an anomaly that guy was.
Yeah.
You know who Steven Seagal is, Laura?
Nope.
We recently watched Rocky. Right?
Yes.
And the star of Rocky is Sylvester Stallone. And there was a few guys like in the late 80s to mid 90s who were like action stars. You got Stallone, you got Schwarzenegger. Seagal wasn't like Van Damme, Rob Van Damme, but Seagal was in the mix, and he turned out to be a real weirdo.
Yeah, he turned out to be just a big fat mess who really just turned into a bad person.
You ever see the videos of him dressed in like a big silk kimono?
Sure, teaching people.
And, guys are coming at him to fight, and he's barely moving his arm, and the guys are like flipping it. And this is not like we're making a movie. This is we're doing an instructional thing.
Because they have quote unquote respect for
unbelievable.
Yeah. Ugh.
What a weird dude. Anyway, February 11th, Nelson Mandela is released from Victor Verster prison near Cape Town, South Africa, after 27 years behind bars.
Or was he?
That's kind of my next point. Have you? It sounds like you have. Do you know the Mandela Effect? Have you heard of that?
Yes.
Sinbad.
Do you? Sinbad is in there. Do you know what what it means? And is there an example you can give by chance?
Well, some people, I actually do have an example. Some people think that it's just like really good Photoshop, and I agree with that. Or either that, or maybe logos change over time. You know what I mean? Like logos change over time. So like for an example, like the candy Kit Kat, people think that there is a hyphen in the middle of
between Kit and Kat.
Yes,
Okay.
but there's not. But there are photos of that.
Okay, so your example is of an image, and you think people may have photoshopped it based on what they believe they remember from the past or something.
Yes, that's my
Okay.
example.
Well, do you know why it's called the Mandela Effect?
No, I really don't.
Blake, would you like to explain that?
Go ahead.
Nelson Mandela was a leader. He's a black gentleman, a leader in South Africa against apartheid, which was a...
Is it part-time? Apartheid.
well, you're working part-time at the bowling alley, right?
Not even.
Apartheid, whatever you want to call it. It was institutional racism in South Africa, basically. It was awful. What's that? You got something to say? Do you have something awful you want to say on mic? Anyway, He was a leader that was in prison for many years, and he was released. But a large portion of the population say, I remember that Nelson Mandela died. He didn't die at all. He was alive, and he was released, and then he was made president, I think, of South Africa. He's dead now. But there was a time when...
Are you sure?
I think that's a good point. Yeah, I'm hungry for a Kit Kat all of a sudden. I don't know about you guys. Anyway, that's
funny. You're hilarious.
I pride myself on my comedy, and children pointing it out. But Nelson, that's what the Mandela Effect is. That's like the first. That's the. Let him finish. Mm-hmm. I always say that.
Don't talk. You have to wait.
Oh, okay. The great thing about this white napkin is if you see red in it, you know it's time to pause the show.
Yes.
That's the first documented case of people saying, I know that this happened one way, and then what's really happening is different from that.
Right.
But do you have an example, though, of the Nelson Mandela Effect?
Well, I mentioned earlier about the Sinbad was, like, they said he was in a movie that he really wasn't in. And everybody was like, I can remember him being in that movie.
Yeah, everyone was like, remember in the mid-'90s when Sinbad starred in that Genie movie?
So what do you think it is? Like, what do you think the Mandela Effect is? Like, not the actual definition. Like, why do you think?
Why do you think that exists?
Yeah. Or
That's a good question.
Or why do you think? Yeah.
I think that we have an overload of information, and it's weird that because it's not like I remember this being a certain way. It's like a large group of people remember it being a different way. It almost bleeds into the multiverse kind of stuff that we talk about when we watch Marvel stuff. Why it happens? That's I don't know. The Sinbad one was like he started a Genie movie called like Shazam or Kazam or something. It's like no, that was Shaq. Shaq starred in that movie, but people thought it was the comedian Sinbad.
Right. They'll stick by it. They stay with it.
I don't really care. I think there's some conspiracy theorists who really go down rabbit holes and like hadron colliders changing the course of history and stuff. I don't care much about it. But why there's a mass almost hypnosis about it, Lorelai? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, I think my guess was more towards like logos and just, you know what I mean? Stuff that you see. Not like movies or anything, but like things you can easily Photoshop.
Well, when I was young, we say it was the books for kids were called the Berenstain Bears. And
yeah, there you go.
And then you look at it now and they say, no, it's the Berenstain, not Berenstein. It's the Berenstain Bears. And they're like, huh? I grew up calling them the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah, because there was nobody to correct you. Just a bunch of redneck people actually learning how to read.
That's like the most reasonable explanation, honestly. All right, so do you know why we chose to watch Archie to Riverdale and Back Again? There's 3 reasons.
I don't know any of the reasons.
Okay. You want to think about it for a second, or
30 seconds on the clock.
Where did you watch it?
My dad sent me a link.
On the
YouTube.
Which is on the
YouTube.
How much did you pay to watch it?
$0.
So it was
Free.
Okay, there's one. Where did you watch it again? On YouTube?
Yes.
How do you access YouTube? From what platform?
There's an app on my phone. Did I miss something? Was there a joke?
All right.
Blake, what's the third one?
Well, it was free, which she said. It was on the internet, and only one was made. Whether it aired or not is irrelevant. Love Miley Cyrus. Oh, by the way, Lorelai, Miley Cyrus, right? Her new song, Flowers, pretty banging, right?
Yeah, it's playing everywhere, so how can you not love it?
But-
It's real catchy, too.
But the story behind it, you know the story behind it and everything?
Nope.
All right, we'll research that later on. It's cool.
Okay.
Is it dirty?
No,
Just
not,
tell my daughter to look up a dirty thing.
No, it was not dirty
Seriously?
at all.
Piece of garbage.
Or you know what? Is it about like, like I don't need a boyfriend, like I can do
that all by myself?
Yeah, I can buy myself flowers.
Yeah, but the premise of why she wrote it was because of her ex-husband, and in the video, she films it at the house that he had rented to have affairs. She wore the suit that he got
Who's
married.
her husband? Liam Hemsworth?
Yeah, something like that.
Is that right? Is that who she's married?
I thought they broke up a long time ago.
Well, but it
Maybe
takes a
not.
while. It takes a while
Maybe
to be
not.
creative, and the words to the song are like the complete opposite of the Weeknd song.
I guess I just didn't know they were married.
So
So her song is the opposite of the Weeknd's song.
because the Weeknd song is the song that he dedicated to her at their wedding.
Interesting.
Just deep dive into it. Just
Stop
deep dive
yelling at us.
You know what? I'll just look it up. You don't have to talk anymore.
Oh no.
No, it's okay. I feel like you were just struggling to explain it, so I will do it. Don't worry.
Hey, you want to do 400 episodes with the guy?
I gotta go.
Hey, where can you find the entire episode of Archie to Riverdale and Back Again for your dumb self? Well, you can do so by subscribing to Couch Pilots on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube, Lorelai.
You know what to do too.
That's my girl.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
Into the air.
My ears popped.
How long did it take you to get to Costa Rica?
It took me 5 hours.
It's Puerto Rico.
No, why'd you correct him? That was funny.
I was trying to do a bit, and you're.
You're trying to do a bit? Oh,
You ruined it.
okay. I'm sorry.
You ruined it.
I thought we were having fun
You
at
did
Blake's
it.
expense, and I didn't want to do that. I love and respect him too much. I didn't want to do that.
It's fine.
Yeah, apparently.
It's fine.
Summary of the pilot. The classic comic book characters created by John L. Goldwater are brought to TV in a slightly older version. Here, the characters are adults returning to their high school reunion and remembering old times and romances from good old Riverdale High.
I'm gonna have to give that a B.
Do you want to grade that summary? It's like a grading scale you would have at school. He said B.
Yeah, I'd say a B2.
B2. Okay.
B2.
Bingo.
Good vitamin.
Absolutely. Hey, good interesting facts.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Interesting Facts. This is the part of the show where Jason has scoured the internet to find out facts about the show that you may not know. All we ask is that you do not share your opinion with anyone else. These facts are for you to process, and only you. That was a clean version of Interesting Facts.
That was good. You did a great job.
Thanks.
I'm proud of you. My name is Michael Clayton, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Daddy. I mean, thanks, Jason.
Oh.
Thank you, Mr. Tasha.
Thank you, Daddy.
Let's get on with the facts.
All right, let's get to it. Let's stop screwing around. He's got places to go. Hey, interesting facts. Archie Comics is the longest-running title of Archie Comic Publications Incorporated. The first issue appearing with a cover date of winter 1942. Starting with issue number 70, the title was shortened to simply Archie. The flagship series was relaunched from issue number 1 in July of 2015 with a new look and design suited for a new generation of readers. Although after number 32,
See, that's what you get for messing with stuff.
I'm so sorry.
Righty tighty,
Hold on.
lefty loosey.
See?
mess with the mic. Okay.
Everything's fine.
After number 32, it reverted to its historic numbering with issue number 699. Archie Comics characters and concepts have also appeared in numerous films, television programs, cartoons, and video games. Fact.
There's a video game?
It's got to be. Archie to Riverdale and Back Again is a 1990 American live-action made-for-television comedy film based on comic book characters published by Archie Comics. It was produced by Deke Entertainment and premiered on NBC Sunday Night at the Movies on May 6, 1990. It was shown in Britain as Weekend Reunion. Fact. The NBC movie broadcast during the May sweeps period was seen as a pilot for a possible series. It received mixed reviews, though it was well received by some critics who especially praised the casting and performances from the actors. The movie finished a disappointing 51st in the Nielsen ratings. Fact. Archie Comics published a one-shot comic book adaptation of the TV movie which coincided with its premiere. Stan Goldberg and Mike Esposito drew the sections of the book featuring the characters in flashbacks as teens, while Gene Colan drew the characters as adults in a realistic style and more serious look akin to Rex Morgan, M.D., and John Byrne drew the cover. The comic also shows a flashback to the incident where Archie and Betty were alone in a motel room together from Betty and Me, number 40, February 1972, back issue, described the one-shot as an offbeat, impressive package. Fact. Just a couple more.
Who had an impressive package?
Jughead, always. And in the 2017 TV series Riverdale, it names all of its episode titles after movies. Did you know this?
I feel like I have, but I'm not going to say that I do.
Well, the 11th episode of the first season, Riverdale Chapter 11, To Riverdale and Back Again, was named for this made-for-TV film.
Oh,
Fact.
cool.
The scene where Archie is driving Jughead's red Chevy Impala convertible uncontrollably was filmed on the same set where they also filmed Hazard County in the TV series
Dukes of Hazzard. I was about to, I thought you were gonna say Back to the Future.
It feels like that,
It does.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
The film was released on VHS in 1997 from New Horizons Home Video, with the movie retitled as Archie to Return to Riverdale. In Australia, it was released on VHS as Archie's Weekend Reunion. Fact. And finally, we previously discussed another pilot simply called Archie from 1964, right here on the show, May 28th, 2018. Now that's the end of Interesting Facts.
Wow. Good job. You should be proud of your dad, Lorelai.
I'm proud.
He does a lot of work for this. He'd probably have more time for you if he didn't do this podcast.
Probably.
Priorities. Hey, Twitter responses.
Oh, okay.
Twitter responses. I wonder if Jason got some Twitter responses.
Yes, but not to anyone related to this project. I received some late feedback from Janet Perlman, the writer, director, and producer of the recently covered animated short Penguins Behind Bars. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So, as I do always with anyone that's a writer, director, creator, producer, or actor related to the pilot we're watching, I say, greetings from the Couch Pilots podcast. We talk about TV shows that had only one episode. Next up for us is Penguins Behind Bars. We're excited to watch it, and we're wondering if you have any fun or interesting info you'd like to share. Thanks. We hope to hear from you. Janet says, and you can find her at Poodleman on Twitter. And she says, hey, I only just found this message on Twitter. So sorry to miss it. I don't go on Twitter much. So I listened to your show, and I must say, I was laughing my head off. You guys are very funny.
Ooh.
I can fill you in on some details belatedly, but would need an email or connection on Facebook, if at all interested. So I sent her an email. I found her email address, and I sent her an email. And she said, hi, Jason. Well, I thought you made some very insightful comments. I'm sorry you don't want to see the show again, but that is perfectly all right. So here's a little info to fill you in on some of the things you were wondering about. The show was not meant to be a pilot, just a one-off TV special.
Oh.
Hence why it's so long.
Maybe. Well, now this is not talking about Archie. This is talking about Penguins Behind Bars.
Oh, okay.
This is a previous show that we've done that we've received some late
There you
feedback
go.
on. She goes on to say the inspiration was a dark response to the children's Penguin books that I have published, and the film The Tender Tale of a Cinderella Penguin, which I directed. Time for jail, I thought. So she wanted to move on to a jail episode. Yes, you are right. This is not for kids. Not so funny, but I meant it to be darkly funny for adults. Somehow the absurdity of making a drama with penguins, like we were supposed to take this seriously, did not hit home for a lot of people. I regret all the puns. I apologize. There were so many, though maybe a few were actually funny. It was indeed made for Adult Swim. At the time, Adult Swim was new. Near the end of the production, we learned that they had just gotten their demographics, which turned out to be 18 to 24-year-old males. Huh? We were totally surprised. Not because of the demographic, because this was definitely not the target audience for the show. She goes on to say that Have I had trouble with the legal system? I think we were both saying maybe she's pulling from real experiences. She says, no. I just watched a lot of prison shows. Wentworth. I remember it being called
Nice.
Prisoner Cell Block H. Loved that series.
Thank you. That was great. Great series.
Even though my name is Pearlman, I did not think of pearls because of that, because pearls played a point.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the currency that they stole.
Right. That's exactly right. Say, hey, I don't think about pearls all the time. Hey, by the way, it was co-written with Derek Lamb, but we didn't put any lambs in the movie. It's pretty funny. Maybe we should have. That would have been a fun and strange surprise. So interesting to get your take. Very observant. Whatever you think of it, you caught it all. So thank you for the mixed or perhaps bad reviews. Your comment about comedy versus drama is dead on. I would have gone with more funny because that is where I go. Almost all my films are funny. I mean, really. They really are funny, I swear. Janet. So I responded very quickly. I said, Janet, thank you so much time. Thank you for taking the time to respond so thoughtfully. I apologize if we came off as overly negative. It's never our intention to feature a pilot or a one-off TV special just to trash it. We've seen almost 400 pilots, and we genuinely try to learn about them and discuss them fairly. I will say that it was very well made, and getting anything made seems to be almost impossible. So seriously, congrats on Penguins Behind Bars and the many other projects you've helped bring to life. I love and appreciate hand-drawn animation. Thanks again. Take care and continued success to you, Jason. P.S. I'll let my co-host know that you share his love for Wentworth. And she wraps it up by saying, Jason, no problem. Hey, it doesn't bother me if you're expressing honest opinions. There is no venom there. And you did also throw in some compliments. Thank you. But I know that the film did not play as well as we would have hoped, which is very disappointing. But any criticism that is carefully considered for me is constructive criticism from which I can learn and continue to make films. I think you were right about a lot of what you said. We'll check out more of your podcast, Janet. What a class act.
That was awesome.
What an unbelievable class act this lady is.
Janet, you're on the Wall of Fame.
Absolutely.
But I do have one comment.
Please.
She didn't mention me at all.
Or me. That was wow. I was actually waiting for my name.
I was waiting for her to say, you know, your co-host gave it a higher score.
Right, yeah.
I was waiting for Jason's daughter. ...
Yeah, no, you guys are both right. She
That's the only mistake
but
you made.
a major foresight on her.
But to be honest with you, when people check out our show, whether they were, however much they were invested in the pilot they were in,
right.
She was very, she appreciated it, whether it didn't go the way she wanted it to or not, and you got to give her kudos for that.
Yeah, she's working on a lot of projects and seems to helm a lot of these. And honestly, what a mature response. I mean, I remember us not loving it or trying to understand who this was for exactly, but what an incredible reception to our criticisms or opinions of the show. So thank you, Janet.
Artist to artist, an amazing response.
Thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. Let's go ahead and break down this 100 and almost 40-minute pilot. It's a made-for-TV movie, which is painful sometimes. And we'll see how each of you liked it. But I'll go ahead and start off. We have that classic Archie font. Lorelai, please jump in whenever you want.
Okay.
The show is almost as a cartoon style in the credits, and a version of the Archie's band hit Sugar Sugar, which we played up front, but it was a different version of the song.
I like that song.
It almost sounded, the version we heard on the pilot almost sounded like Three Dog Night to me. We get a lot of panning shots of the classic. I would
think, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine.
But I would think that they probably had to use like a cover of it.
Maybe so.
For the show.
Yeah, I think licensing gets very weird and tricky.
For sure.
We see panning shots of an all-American town. We head over to the high school, ready to welcome alumni.
Yeah, it's Alumni Week, and if I'm not mistaken, it's Mr. Weathersby.
Is that right, Lorelai? Is that the guy in charge of the school?
Yes.
Yeah, and he's helping them put up the sign. We have a shot that has Veronica, and she's in Paris.
Yep.
And
she's kind of planning her trip back to Riverdale.
Yeah, and she's like, "Is Archie going to be there for this thing?" And
this is did we say this is a 10-year or a 20-year reunion? Do you remember?
15. I thought it was
15. Okay. Betty, we find out, is a teacher, and she's dating a fellow named Bob, who might also be a teacher. It's unclear at this point.
Let's just call him Robert. I do not want to call him Bob.
Let's call him Robert.
I am offended by that. He is not worth calling him.
Gives you some anxiety.
Oh, I just don't like him.
It's no on Bob.
We also find out that Archie is engaged, and it's not to Betty or Veronica. Archie seems to be a lawyer about ready to make partner, and he's getting ready to move, but he's making time for the reunion.
Right. He's still. We find out he still lives in Riverdale.
That wasn't clear to me immediately.
It was not. I'm just trying to help this along.
Yeah.
But and he is engaged to someone named Pam, and he's a lawyer, and I do believe she has something to do with that law office as well.
Probably. If they're both there, both lawyers.
So he's moving out of his boyhood home, obviously, to move into town.
Yeah, to the bigger city to be a partner. Archie goes to the chiropractor, and they adjust his back and get his thoughts on the reunion. Everyone knows about the love triangle of Betty, Veronica, and Archie. And I think one of the chiropractors, he's a classic character named Moose, and I imagine he was on the show.
Yes.
Okay.
Was he like the jockey kind of
Yes.
big guy? Okay.
Yeah, he's the big. And,
Secretly gay.
okay, not here though, because he's with Lady Chiropractor. This is Midge Mason, who I believe was probably on the show as well, right?
And if anyone on this show has watched Riverdale, and that's not right, I'm sorry, but I really think it is.
Okay, you're probably
That's
right.
a guess. I haven't watched it in years, but I think that's it.
Well, in this version of the show, he's with Midge Mason, who here is played by Debbie Derryberry, my favorite female voice actor.
Okay, actually, I think that was wrong. Sorry.
Debbie Derryberry is Dexter from Dexter's Lab.
Okay.
And she's worked hundreds of voice credits. She's a highly man.
Does she have more credits than, I don't know,
Dun dun dun.
Billy West?
Elsewhere, Jughead is talking to a therapist about his divorce and his child.
No.
Oh no.
Jughead
Yeah.
is. Oh, I'm sorry. I overstepped you.
No, you're right though.
It
comes off like
comes
he's
off
talking
like he's talking to a
therapist.
therapist. My fault.
No, that's fine.
You thought he was talking to a therapist. He ends up being a therapist talking to his patient.
Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
therapist.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. He's kind of unloading on his client, which it kind of seems to work for the client.
Yeah,
it's
he's
kind of
like-
schadenfreude, like, Jughead, you're my therapist. Call him Jughead, whatever his name is. But it's like, man, your life is messed up. Hey, it makes me feel better.
Right.
It's kind of one of those things. Jughead is now on a charter bus playing cards and trying to connect with his son Jordan. And Jughead is kind of overanalyzing the relationship. The kid, I think, is kind of like roughly 12 years old, I would say. And all that kid wants to do is just play with his dad.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be overanalyzed by his therapist.
he
He
just-
just wants to have fun and be a kid.
Yeah. Just play with cards.
Next, we go to Reggie's, and I think Reggie's is probably a major place in Riverdale too, right? It's one of the main hangouts.
They called it, or there could have been, but I know like the main hangout in the show, I think it was called Pops.
Yeah, it's Pops.
Pops Chocolate Shop.
And I was confused about this because when you look at the initial shot and him going into it,
Yeah.
you think he's going into Reggie's, but he's going into Pops. Reggie's is next door. Reggie's is the other guy that has the workout place. Because
Yeah.
I wrote the same thing wrong. It's Pops. That's the diner.
See, I thought I kept referring
Because
to
they were right next to each
I
other.
kept referring to the diner as Reggie's Diner,
And I did for halfway through my notes, and I had to go back and yeah.
but I was like, oh, it's Reggie's is run by Pops, but the place is actually just called Pops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Reggie's is
diner.
next door, and it's a fitness place.
Yeah, Archie arrives and the kids working there are like talking about starting a band or something. Pops there, who runs the store, he warmly welcomes Archie. He obviously knows him. And Archie sees Veronica's plane fly overhead. Reggie arrives, and I think he's a car salesman. Is that
No. Reggie owns the place next door, which is it is
like an
the
aerobics place.
aerobics place
Yeah.
and vitamin place.
Okay. I feel like he had a lot of hands in different pie. Anyway, Archie leaves, and then the limo driver escorts him into a vehicle. It belongs to Hiram Lodge. Now that name's probably very popular or noteworthy.
Yes. Veronica's father.
Is he evil in the show?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see,
He comes off to be a nice guy, but I think like it's one of those things where like he's a villain, but like what he thinks is doing is right. He's not actually like an evil person.
A
He just-
humanized villain.
Yeah, of course. He just wants things his way, and he has so much power he can manipulate people into doing it. So, or blackmail.
Well, he's a big deal, and he's a man of means, obviously, too. And he tells Archie to leave Veronica alone. And Archie says, "Hey, I'm doing fine. I'm engaged. I'm not interested."
right, yeah. And I didn't realize this was Veronica's dad for a couple more scenes.
Well, Archie then heads over to his house that's for sale. The house is all packed up. Jughead arrives, and they make it clear that the two have not kept in touch. Jughead then complains that he is not in a good place at all, and then his son Jordan puts Jell-O in one of Archie's beds because he does not like Archie. And then Jughead and his boy, it's clear that they'll be staying with Archie while they're in town. This is what I noticed. There's a lot of scenes playing music in the background with like plenty of saxophone, which is really, that's the ballywick of mid-'80s to early 90s stuff.
Very 80s for sure.
You okay?
Yeah.
Thinking of you, buddy. Feel free to jump in anytime you want.
I think it's funny that I wrote Jughead not doing well, and that's the same thing you said.
Yeah, he seemed like he was kind of out of it.
I said his son's an asshole is what I put on here.
He's just being a punk kid.
Good notes. I mean, you don't like kids, so
That's true. You're
don't.
ringing true to your character.
I'm sure it was really easy for you to write
Hate
that.
this?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
it was.
that too.
Archie, Jordan, and Jughead then go to a luncheon being held by Veronica, and Archie fashions. He has a tie that was burnt, and then he fashions it into the classic Archie bow tie
Right.
at this point.
Oh yeah.
Betty arrives at Veronica's massive estate, and the two complement each other as it has become clear they live two very different lives. All these main characters from the comic books kind of have gone their separate ways since high school.
I find it really interesting that like they're maybe I went a little bit too far ahead. Do we go into the flashback yet or no?
Well, I was going to mention that Jughead's nervous about running into Big Ethel at the luncheon.
Yeah.
And Betty and Veronica seem to be on good terms. Archie arrives to the party and sees his first glimpse of Betty and Veronica and remembers back to a time in high school. Is this what you're going to mention?
Yeah,
Please.
So this happens a couple of times during this show where they do flashbacks to when these characters were in high school 15 years ago, but they look exactly the same.
They
as
try to make
adult.
them look a little different, but it is the same actors.
It's very difficult. There's just like a little fuzziness, like a little cloudiness
Vaseline
around.
lens.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're a flashback to where the boys are in the shower room and they're talking about prom, and I just found it odd.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, back then they would use like 30-year-olds for teenagers. So are we really surprised?
I think Luke Perry was like deep into his 20s when he was playing like someone your age.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe it's smoking cigarettes that make you look younger.
So cool.
Maybe that's what we need to do. Or maybe that's what you and me need to do.
Yeah. Blake already looks
Yeah.
cool.
Well,
Just look at him over
Look
there.
how cool I look.
we just want to look like we just see him all the time, and
We take it for granted how cool he is.
I know. So we need to get on that.
Archie makes his way towards the Betty and Veronica. It's a slightly awkward first when they embrace because there's still like this odd air of jealousy because this legendary love triangle they had. Betty's beau, Robert, shows up, and he kind of does it to show dominance.
Right,
So,
yeah.
This is my lady.
There's a bunch of awkward moments during this tea party that they're having at Veronica's house for all the classmates. And then this is when Mr. Weatherby is like, "Hey, we're gonna have this, and the Archies are gonna play at the dance." And like, none of these people that were quote unquote in this band knew anything about them having to play this live show in front of everybody.
I will say that I wasn't really. Lorelai is far more familiar with Archie and the comics and the TV show and the lore than I am. I never got into it, so I know the main characters, and I didn't even, I guess, realize that they had a band called the Archies. And if would you start a band called the Blakes? That's a weird thing to do. Call it after your name.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. All
The
these
Archies just fit.
it
Some
do-
reason it
yeah, it
does.
does kind of fit.
like
No,
the
no.
Ramones,
Yeah.
the Styx, the Beatles.
The Sticks.
Beetle.
Anyway, Jordan is introduced to another boy named Max, and I think he belongs to Moose and Midge. I think it's their kid.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's where I didn't during this. I was like, where did this other kid come from?
Right.
He starts hanging out with Jughead's
A little bit
kid.
more later, it becomes clear, but yeah, I think that's the kid. And then Veronica catches up to Archie, and she really lays it on thick. She sets a date with him while her father looks on through a window, unapprovingly calling it strike one.
Right. He is all about counting.
That's
on the scoreboard.
dramatic, and that fits as well. It's same thing.
It was
Same
over the top
thing.
melody. Yeah, the guy looking from the window. Archie finds
No, but the fact that he said strike one.
out loud to nobody.
Yes. Yes.
Archie finds a way to be alone with Betty. They go for a walk, and Archie tells Betty that he does not approve of her boyfriend, Robert. They then go to Reggie's, and Archie reads some of Betty's writing. Pops shows up with an old photo of the two, and they hold each other's hands while in the booth across from each other, looking lovingly at each other. And they tell a sweet story from their past, one about them essentially not sleeping together.
But didn't
during
Archie
the
say
story.
that? Yeah, it happened, and she's like, I didn't know it. I felt like he was saying it happened, and she was saying, oh, I don't remember it happening.
I think for like the lore and the chastity of these characters, it probably didn't happen. This is obviously a more grown-up take
Sure.
on it, but I still feel like the lore of the past remains chaste.
I get you.
I could be wrong. Anyway, they're about to leave, and then Pops tells Archie that Reggie's evicting him, and he plans to expand one of his other businesses. Archie goes to see Reggie, but Reggie's not budging. He's not gonna. He's gonna do it.
And if I'm not mistaken, Reggie was one of like the crew, like in high school.
I would love some
Yes.
explanation from Lorelai on this one.
Yes, but no. It was in the show. It was really just the four of them: Archie,
Jughead, okay.
Jughead, Veronica, Betty, and Archie. But you'd have like side characters that would tie into like the
Moose.
plot. Yeah, like that. So he was really
Squirrel.
yeah. There's probably one out there that's named that.
So Hiram Lodge, like over the overarch of the series, is he kind of like the main villain?
Yeah. So like these problems are because of him.
Now Reggie, would he just kind of be a pain in the butt like every other episode or so? Would he cause like little problems? Because you're right. Like he is seemingly part of the crew later on.
Right.
I feel so. He would probably be one of those characters, and again, I haven't watched it in a while, but he's probably one of those characters that like help, but like you don't ever see him help. He's just a part of like the background, kind of, or they catch him in a car somewhere doing something, and that ties into like the plot.
Okay.
He'll be like a hint.
Character.
Yeah, he'll be a hint.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Archie goes to see Reggie. Yeah, Reggie's a fitness guy. He's got this workout studio. Reggie said he will pay for a new location for Pops, but Archie wants the old place to stay. He says there's too much history, too much love for Pops, and so many people have their lives wrapped up in good times they've had at Pops' place. Archie leaves. And then Reggie calls Hiram Lodge about this ordeal because he's flipping the bill for the whole thing.
Right.
And when he finds out that Archie is a potential problem, he out loud says to himself, "Strike two."
Oh, I should have seen that coming.
There's 2 strikes really quick on this show.
Very, very quick, 2 strikes.
And is he saying it to anybody?
That one, I feel like he's not again. Like he's in his car,
Right.
maybe, or something.
He's talking to the chauffeur.
Yeah, maybe
So
so.
the next scene,
Like
is,
imagine stalking somebody. Imagine if you were to stalk him or something. You're in his car, he doesn't know, and you just hear that.
He's on the phone and he just says strike two. Like, what?
No, not on the phone.
Oh.
He's just sitting in his car. Strike two.
Huh?
And you're just like,
Huh?
what's he talking? Does he know I'm in the car? Or
So the next scene, Archie's at his house. He's going to bed, and Veronica comes over in lingerie and is trying to seduce Archie. And the 2 kids, Moe's kid and then Jughead's kid, are some reason on a ladder looking out the window and seeing this,
like some Porky style.
But this
stuff
is
here.
it's like this is where it starts to get racy a little
Oh,
bit.
for sure. Yeah. She's basically wearing this coat and it's got this sexy nightgown underneath. And Archie tries to like thwart her advances, but yeah, the boys are looking through the window, and then Archie sees the boy peeping, and he pushes the ladder back, which could absolutely kill the child.
Right.
This would kill a kid if it went
Right.
wrong. Were you awake at this point, Lorelai? You may have fallen asleep.
yes.
Well,
I know you didn't see all the pilot. That's okay.
very quickly, the old guy says, "Strike 3," because he sees Veronica leave there.
Well, let's just say that the kid doesn't die.
Right.
The kids have buddied up at this point. The other kid like stabilizes the ladder, and basically in Archie's room, Veronica tells Archie that she's in love with him and always has been. And he tells her too much has changed and that he's engaged. She leaves upset, and Archie tells her that she'll always be important to him, and he wants to preserve what they have.
Sure.
And she leaves kind of understandingly. But yes, you're right. Hiram Lodge is outside.
He somehow sees it from his car. Is like, "Yep, strike 3."
Strike 3, and then
By himself, to himself.
Well, not to himself this time because he seemingly tells his limo driver to kill Archie.
Right.
I interpret what he says as kill this guy.
Take care of things for sure. The next day, Archie goes and talks to Pops and says, "Hey, I'm going to be your lawyer. I'm going to try to help you through this." And then we go to Betty playing tennis with Veronica.
Yes.
And Lorelai, can you take the headphones off for a second? This is where you see Betty's underwear shot, because the boys like roll a tennis ball to where she has to bend over and see him, and you see Betty's underwear.
The boys are like, how can we look at
Chicks,
ladies'
yeah.
asses, basically? They very perverted, but like kind of like what kids would do, I think, too. Don't you think?
Yeah, this is, and then it goes to another high school flashback with Veronica and Betty in the gym, and they're like, well, whoever he picks, we'll still be friends, right? And then Archie comes in. Of course, they act completely different.
Both girls say they're not going to pursue Archie anymore.
Right. Betty confronts Archie about the night before, and there's another flashback with Archie and Betty talking. She's like, "Well, you need to decide who's going to prom." This whole thing, these flashbacks all have to do with prom and who he's going to ask.
In between those flashbacks, I will say that Archie's talking to a local judge about Pop's case, and Betty catches up to Archie in the library where he's doing research for the case, and she's grilling him about Veronica showing up to his house, and Betty is pretty concerned about it because she says, "I want you to be responsible to your fiance," but she also kind of admits a jealousy here.
Right.
This love triangle is so far from over, and everything is bubbling to the surface.
And they almost kiss here.
They
It's
do.
within centimeters.
But you're right. They do flash back to the prom again. Archie says he's not asking one because he doesn't want to upset anyone. And Betty says if he's not serious enough to consider her for prom, then she can't consider him for her future.
Right.
And she plans to pursue writing and will be leaving Riverdale right after high school graduation.
The next scene is we see the chauffeur who has booby-trapped the car.
Yes.
That Jughead, both their boys, or Jughead, Moose's boy, and Archie,
Yeah.
and they leave the town square, and all of a sudden, for the next seems like 10 minutes, this car is running amok through the flea market, through the whole town square,
Yes.
destroying
Plowing
everything.
through picket fences, mailboxes, freshly painted wooden fencing down sidewalks, right through a farmer's market like he's in Seattle, all hopped up on synthetic weed, which is a real thing. And finally into a window of Reggie's workout studio. Did you fall asleep and then wake up throughout, or did you fall asleep and wake up at the end? Or
I
something?
woke up at the end.
At the end. Okay, we'll try to get to the end. for you.
Cliffhanger.
They drive into the window of Reggie's workout studio. While it's being sorted out at the police station, the judge agrees to meet with both parties of the Reggie's closure case, or Pop's rather, I should say, and we go right into a municipal meeting, and the judge's decision will be final. We find out it is revealed that during the trial that Hiram Lodge owns Pop's, his restaurant, and then when Veronica hears about this, she gets upset and leaves. Archie pleads to the judge that Pop's is part of the town's history and that Pop's or that Reggie himself is an egomaniac. It's a little more confusing, and this is where I thought that the place was called Reggie, owned by the guy's name. Reggie. This is where I thought it was very confusing, but obviously is
Same thing with Pops.
Apparently, it's just Pops. Anyway, each of the characters take turns slinging insult at Reggie, and then Archie makes a compelling case for the values and good of a place like Riverdale and how Pops is integral to that. The judge will have his decision in the morning. Outside, Blake is in the bathroom, by the way. Outside, Robert is showing his jealousy, and understandably so, and tells Betty that the town, Pops, and Archie's is important to her. Veronica confronts her father about Pop's situation, but he refuses to change his mind. And then Archie arrives and calls Hiram Donald Trump, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Donald Trump has been mentioned several times in pilots that we've talked about, and this really makes the case. I've always said that for the past 30, 40 years, Donald Trump has been in the zeitgeist. He is mentioned in things. He's part of pop culture.
Yeah.
Well, Hiram Lodge is playing Monopoly here, so
You're right. Yeah, he is. He's trying to buy up the town and craft his own things.
He says something. Doesn't Archie say something about Donald Trump's home or something like? What is this? Donald Trump's home or something like that?
I think he does call it that. Yeah. Veronica gets in Archie's miraculously repaired convertible. It's already fixed, and leaves. Her father and the limo man look on while she leaves with Archie. Archie and Veronica go to a local pond and reminisce and talk through their lives. We flash back to Archie going to Veronica's house. He asks her to prom, but it's the day before, so she turns him down. And she, too, is packing to leave town. She's going to Paris.
Yeah, everybody's going somewhere.
Please jump in whenever you want, Blake. I know you're...
Okay, so the next scene is there. This is the picnic, right? This is the picnic scene. The whole town's...
Well, I think that here where Jughead takes Jordan to the local junkyard. You remember that scene? It's where they used to hang out. Jughead talks to Archie about the three loves of his life.
Yeah.
And then Jordan finds a baseball mitt signed by Hank Aaron.
Yeah, and it's like they find the old jukebox and all this school stuff, and they kind of reminisce like, why would people get rid of this stuff? They're like, this is awesome.
This is our lives.
They're just living in the past, right? Then the next scene is Jughead and I am lost.
The next morning,
the movers.
The new owners of Archie's home arrive, and essentially are kicking him out of his house. And a little later, everyone's gathering in the town center, which I think is what you were mentioning.
Right. And, Jughead's talking to his son, and he sees a little girl, And obviously, this is where they connect. Jughead is nervous around women, and that's where him and his son combine, and like, oh, we both are like this.
This is the point where not only do him and his son connect, but this is where you could almost get it down to the exact day when this was made. This is how dated. This next scene really dates the pilot here.
Right. He's like, well, let's go talk to her or whatever. And he's like, no. And then he's like, here, because Jughead's playing the Sugar Sugar song over and over throughout this whole thing. And his son thinks it's pretty lame. Well, then his son puts this boom box on.
Yeah, he's got this big old ghetto blaster.
Yeah, playing a rap, kind of like rap beat. And all of a sudden, him and his dad get up and start dancing, kind of break dancing, kind of. And they turn the Sugar Sugar song into a rap.
Did you see this part, Lorelai?
No, but it sounds hilarious.
This is super cringe.
Yeah.
It's insane how embarrassing it is just to watch.
Yeah, I read some of the views. They're like the acting is not good, and it's almost cringy to watch.
Ugh. Well, yeah, this grown man who is 15 years, so he's probably like mid-30s, with this 12-year-old boy, they're rapping together in front of these little girls so his son can impress this lady. It's pretty cringy.
The next day, it's Sunday. Now, note that it's Sunday, and they're back into court because the judge still has to decide.
Right.
And he ends up having to say, yep, the eviction needs to go through. And everybody's like, oh, that's horrible. So then they go to the carnival.
Well, hold on a second. Reggie catches up to Archie outside. And he says, hey, I'll work on Hiram Lodge to let Pop stay if you, Archie, turn down Veronica and build me up to her.
Right, which the Reggie Veronica thing up until this point is irrelevant.
It's not been a thing, and he's also known her for 20 years. How much building up do you need to this guy? Yeah. While Archie is telling Reggie that it's wrong to make deals for people, Veronica walks in between Reggie and Archie and kisses Archie long and hard. It's pretty crazy. Reggie tells Archie that Pop's his history. This is where we go to the carnival. And Archie goes with Jughead and Jordan, right?
And Mr. Weatherby is like, we're going to have all the same prices as 15 years ago.
They're rolling back prices.
So they're going to have a go-kart race. And all the main characters, all the guys, basically.
And who's heading up the race? Coach Clayton.
Coach Clayton.
Is Coach Clayton on Riverdale too? Do you remember him, Lorelai?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't remember
Probably
him.
just a minor character.
Probably. No one cares about him, I guess.
Oh no. Well, we're really hammering on him. Teaming up on him.
And this go-kart race becomes really odd because there's a bunch of balls, like balloons and balls and broomsticks.
That's really weird.
And it has nothing to do with anything. They're going around in this track. Archie ends up crashing, and
all the guys are there too. All the characters
Robert,
and Robert's especially, him and Reggie are kind of the antagonists here.
Right.
Yeah.
They end up making Archie wreck, and the Moose.
That's a dangerous game. Driving around go-karts, which are potentially a little fast, with broomsticks. That's dangerous, man.
And they're just randomly driving past balls and balloons.
It's not a well-thought-out thing. Anyway, Archie crashes. Betty and Veronica rush to his side. Moose arrives, and he chiropracts Archie back into shape.
Crack.
Betty and Robert fight in the car as he helped crash Archie. He made Archie crash. Betty arrives at Archie's hotel room, and she's looking good here. She gives Archie her newest writing, and it's hot and steamy.
Yeah, it's like a Fabio kind of romance novel.
Yeah.
And she starts to kind of undress and get ready, and she's got a seductive outfit on.
She says, I'm tired of being the nice girl.
Yeah, I'm tired of being the nice girl. And he's like, well, you should probably just go in the shower.
Well, there's a knock on the door, right?
Yeah, and he's like, go take a shower.
I was awake for this part.
Okay. What do you remember?
It's Veronica, right? At the door? Or is it Betty?
No,
it's Veronica. Okay.
Veronica, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Well, she comes in. He pushes her into the shower. Find Veronica at the door. She's also looking good. She too wants to shower, but Archie, because she hears the shower going, but he shoves her into a closet, and then Betty comes out of the bathroom with a huge, massive plume of steam behind her, and it goes back and forth like this until Archie's fiance shows up. So he's
Right.
got these 3 women vying for him.
So Pam comes and he's like, "Oh, let's go." They get in the car and they go to speed away. He's like, "You gotta get her out of here."
He leaves the 2 girls to discover themselves back in the apartment there, the hotel room.
And for some reason, I don't remember why, but Jughead then goes to Big Ethel's house.
Yeah,
I don't remember what coerced him to go.
Let's
Somebody she was looking for him or something, and he confronts his fear. He's trying to confront his fear of Big Ethel.
Is Big Ethel a character in the Riverdale too?
I don't believe so.
Well, apparently, I think in the comic book she was kind of this
Oh wait. Say the name again.
Big Ethel.
I think it's a lady.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
same age. I think so. Yes.
I think in the comic she was kind of billed as this homely woman, and I think this probably was the case when they were in high school. But now he's been living in fear because I think she's had a crush on Jughead for a long time, and he was never into her.
Yes. I remember in the show when Hiram Lodge was like buying everything up and making these sacrifices, and he'd make the town mad because he would have to like go out of his way to bring people down to buy all these properties, and like her family was a victim of that, and in the show, I think she kind of went off on Veronica on that. And I think she was just always jealous of like Betty because in the show, Betty and Jughead were a thing. So
Okay.
I think I do
Betty and
remember her.
Jughead were a thing in the show. Do you hear that?
Nice, high five that shit.
High five it.
Yeah, so he goes and Big Ethel ends up being super hot.
By every conceivable account, she is a model.
Yeah, for sure. The next scene is Pam.
Well, hold on. She's excited to see him.
Oh yeah, she's super,
And she invites him and his son into a jacuzzi. Isn't that wild?
that's weird.
And what's really funny is at the end of the scene, they're both running after him. Him and his son are both running after
Heck
this
yeah.
bikini-clad Ethel.
Like father, like son.
So stupid.
Pam ends up, she's with Archie, and she just rejects Riverdale altogether in the way of life.
Yeah.
And she's like, you need to get out of here. You need to move on. This is ridiculous stuff.
When he's spending time with Pam here, up to this point, she seems like a nice lady. She seems like a nice lady. Then she commits the ultimate sin. Pam litters. Pam litters.
And you can't do that in Riverdale.
And you can't do that around me.
Can't do that. I was just gonna say you can't do that around him.
I don't like that at all.
She hates it.
Throws garbage on the ground. She sits on a glass bottle that he was
Yeah, he
keeping.
throws. Yeah, she tosses it out. He's like, I was going to keep that. The next scene is the dance, the reunion dance, and they're all there, and they're Mr. Weatherby is like, hey, here come the Archies. They're going to play some music, and they start to go on the stage. But then Robert, who is Betty's boyfriend, and Pam, who is Archie's girlfriend, they meet and they kind of make eyes at each other, and they kind of think they have stuff in common. The band gets up and plays like a really horrible version, and you can tell they don't know how to play the instruments. And then somebody says, "Wait a minute!" Comes in and breaks in and says, "They're bulldozing the diner."
Yeah.
Pops is out there and he's going to get hurt.
He won't move. Yeah. So I was thinking they're bulldozing this quickly on a weekend night.
On a weekend night, as well as at nighttime,
Yeah.
and it's also connected to another part of a building. It's not like it's just the only part of the building.
They rush over to Pops and they find him unwilling to move. Hiram
And the whole reason to kick him out was so they could use his space. Why would they tear it down and rebuild it?
I don't know. There's a lot of things that are questionable. Hiram is there watching from his limo, and then
He's always watching from somewhere.
Yeah,
so I'm not surprised.
he's got the sweetest acting gig. He's always like sitting down
Right.
somewhere. The limo man delivers a present to Archie. The cops arrive, and all the reunion kids are there, like from high school. Like they all show up.
Yeah.
And the kids all line up and declare the police will have to arrest all of them if they're going to take Pops. Betty breaks up with Robert, and Pam tells Archie to walk away, and he says no. So up to this point, Robert's been kind of a jerk, but also understandably jealous with the way that his girlfriend is, responding to Archie. However, while not being in much of the pilot, Pam is never shown to be a crappy person, I thought,
No.
other than the littering. And I really don't think she's crappy here either, but the pilot really wants us to think that she's a bad person.
Right.
But I just don't think that she is.
Right, and we also see Veronica like go to toe with her dad and be like,
Finally, yes.
You just buy me everything, and this is not right. And so the crowd goes wild because finally her dad says, Veronica's dad says, okay, you win, because she says It's either me or your money. He's like, well, I guess I got to pick you.
And during that scene where he calls it off, it's revealed that the limo driver has given Archie a bomb.
Right.
And Hiram demands the remote to activate the bomb from the limo driver, but the limo driver, man, he refuses.
Yeah, I don't know what all of a sudden he's gone rogue all of a sudden.
Veronica rushes to Archie to tell him that it's a bomb. The crowd hears that it's a bomb, and they all
disperse.
clear out. And then Archie throws the bomb into Reggie's studio, and it explodes.
Huge explosion. So, it all ends up the next day. They're in Pops's diner.
Pam is leaving with Robert.
Oh, that's okay. So Archie goes back to pick up his girlfriend or to meet up with her, and Robert comes out of the house like, "Yeah, we spent the night together last night, and we just had an affair."
He was engaged to this lady.
Yeah, and Archie's like, "That's cool. I'm just gonna stay here."
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
Archie rushes to the charter bus to see Jughead and Jordan off. Archie goes to Pops. And he sees Betty and Veronica there. They come in and press him to make a decision between the two. But before he can answer, Jughead and Jordan come in. And they said, you know what?
We're staying too.
We're staying in Riverdale. Betty's going to stay in Riverdale for the summer to write. Veronica's staying to patch up her relationship with her father. Archie says he's staying too. Pops goes to take a photo until Reggie slinks back in. And then Pops gets a photo of everybody.
Amen.
And that's the end. But, any final thoughts there at the end? Because you said you woke up for the end.
Yes, cliffhanger. That's all I remembered, really.
Cliffhanger.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
That's my voice. Did you know that?
I know. You didn't have to tell me.
You could hear it. You could tell it anywhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes he talks like that. Usually in the shower.
That's right.
Because he tries to sing and stuff.
Big plumes. Do I sing in the shower?
Yeah, you think I can't hear you?
My mom told me that when I was young. I have no recollection of singing in the
really?
shower. Really?
You just go numb in your brain when you...
I think so. I must. This is an hour and a half made for TV film, the cinema pilot. My question to you, Blake, Betty or Veronica?
I should choose Betty, but I will always choose Veronica.
It's
the bad girl. It's always the bad girl.
It is literally the only difference between you and I.
Yeah.
I would choose Betty.
It's the bad girl.
How about you? Probably flip the script. Archie
Jughead or Archie?
Or Jughead, yeah.
Archie.
You got to go Archie.
Main character. Everyone loves him. Why not? He's the hero.
Yeah. Why didn't this show work? What do you guys think?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Like you said, a lot of things didn't make sense. A lot of things didn't correlate with each other.
But can that be forgiven? This is a very popular license, a very popular franchise that they're trying to reboot in a kind of a soft PG-13 format. Can these inconsistencies and plot holes be forgiven for such beloved characters?
I want to say yes, but sometimes, like with the seasons, that with the supernatural stuff, it can't be forgiven because you've ruined it.
Okay.
For me, you're taking a comic and then a cartoon, and you're translating it into live action, and that's very difficult to do. It's not like the days now of like Marvel, where all these superheroes are now these big, expensive movies with all this CGI and everything. You're taking a comic from the 1940s and slapping it in 1990 with real people. And a lot of the people that are watching this probably don't have a lot of knowledge about Archie.
Are you ready for me to take a huge steaming dump on your point?
Okay.
We're talking about Riverdale, a popular show now, even 20, 30 years removed from this pilot.
But I would say that 75% of the people watching that had no core. They didn't associate it to them with Archie.
But wasn't that your point about the one that we saw too, or not?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. Thank you for the huge steaming dump.
No, I'm just saying these are just things to think about, right?
Yeah.
Like, if done properly, you can still have those tangential connections to the past. I don't know, because what the Archie show now, Riverdale, is saying, hey, these are the kids in high school. The one that we saw is 15 years later.
I think it was long too. I think it was a little too long.
It was long. That was quite a slog.
And, is this for adults? I mean, this is obviously for adults. There's a lot of sexual innuendos.
Do you think so, Lorelai? You think this is for adults?
Yes.
Yeah. What would you do to improve it?
I don't know. Probably make the reunion better. This was a weird one where like her dad is somehow involved again, like 20 years later, and wants to kill him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you guys like that we're looking at an older version of these beloved characters?
Yeah, but I think like there's some sort of charm to them being kids. Mm-hmm. Like you can't. It won't be the same after they grow up.
I think it's more nostalgic if you go back and they're high school students.
And I think that's why the flashbacks are there, right? They're trying to get little whispers of that past and say, "Oh, this is them in high school." Don't you like that, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what they're doing there. I don't know. Lot to think about. Hour and 40 minutes worth of stuff to think about.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
Sometimes I do it live. I do that part live. I voice it live.
You do a good job.
Oh, I thought you were just. I thought you were just doing it live.
That's the gambit there. Hey, this is the part of the show where we say other people have seen Archiedale to Riverdale and back again. Not only us. There's nothing special about us. Arguably me, the two of you, not so much. But we say other people have seen it and graded it. Audience score from Rotten Tomatoes. There's actually a score there. It's 44% of people enjoyed this.
Really?
Out of 100%. We also often look at IMDb. There's a grading scale there, 1 to 10 decimal points in play. This has 449 ratings. On that 1 to 10 scale, what do you think people from around the world rated this program? Lorelai, you want to start?
A 5.
You think people
right in the middle?
Give it a 5?
That's pretty close. That's pretty close. I would probably say 5.2.
So just going 2 points above that.
Yeah,
That's exactly
just
right.
barely 2 points above
That's
it.
exactly right. He cheats every time. It's part of his charm.
Not surprised.
Let's look at some critic reviews.
I'm not attacking you.
No.
Not
for sure.
now.
Yeah, not now.
Austin Shin from the Omniplex.org says Archie to Riverdale and Back Again is a failed pilot for a live-action series that NBC had high hopes for, but with dismal ratings canned. It's a very image of what non-Archie readers think Archie is. It's cutesy pap and that's so cloying the adult elements feel out of left field. It's a bad idea from start to finish with stunningly weird decisions at every turn. Interesting. Viewer reviews, not as good as the comic books. This is from Larry MP from January 23rd, 2003, so over 20 years ago at this point. Although this film is not as good as the comic books, it's still worth watching. The acting is a bit cardboard. The guy said that Mr. Lodge would never do anything to physically harm Archie is right, and Veronica would never refuse her father's money. I still love to watch this film.
I read that exact review.
You probably read this next one, too. This is 8 out of 10 scars from C. Dunbar-3 from June 20th of 2006. The essence of characters intact, except for some unnecessary sexual innuendo, which didn't add much to the story. This was a tender-hearted look at the power of friendship to endure teenage angst and be better for it.
That's a good point.
Finally, we'll say great entertaining movie. Don't believe what others say. This is a really good movie. It was entertaining. That's all that matters. I think the self-proclaimed Archie buffs who gave the bad comments about this movie didn't watch it with an open mind. Even if you read the comics books, you will still find this believable. It goes on both sides.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF Airport. Local time is 11:11 and the temperature is 69 degrees. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captains turn off the fasten seatbelt sign.
Now we shall grade Archie, as we have done before. About 5 years ago we did an Archie show. We're going to grade another Archie.
Yep. This grading scale is a 1 through 7. It's based off of the television show Wings. Each character from Wings. A 1 is a Roy Biggins. That's the worst. The best you can have is a 7. That's a Brian Hackett. Lorelai, thank you for being on the show. As our guest, please rate what you think the show was. 1 through 7.
While I was awake, I'm going to say if it's going through 1 through 7, then maybe a 4.
Okay. Right down the middle. A 4, not bad.
Had mixed feelings about it.
Yeah.
For the parts that you were awake on.
Yes, of course.
It's hard to be
And what we've talked about too.
Sure, it's hard to be a teenager. I completely understand. You have a lot of stuff going on. Jason, how do you rate Archie to Riverdale and Back Again?
Like I said, my daughter's got way more experience in the Archie-verse than I do. And the guy before who was chiming in saying that this is exactly what you non-Archie readers would think Archie is, I'm that guy. I fit in that category. I feel like this is what Archie is. I might be totally wrong. If you're really invested in the comics over the years and you know those backstories, this might be a total out-of-left-field attempt. But this is what I think Archie is. And I didn't hate it. If this was... I think this is kind of a melodrama, with elements of comedy. I think this probably could be a 45-minute show in our program each week. It did feel long and kind of a little bit all over the place, the pilot that we saw. I would say that I could see this going forward. I really could. I don't know that the performances were awesome, but the characters are so beloved, and people always want more of a franchise that they have. So I am going to say I'm going to give this a 5. A little long. I don't love how long it was, but I could see this being a show. I really could. I think the guy who played Archie was fine. He was likable, handsome guy.
I remember him from Designing Women.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at his IMDb again.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting watch, and for people who are completists of the Archieverse, I would say definitely give it a shot. Captain Philip, rest assured, I turn towards you. How do you rate Archie and Riverdale and Back Again?
I'm going to give it a 3. I thought it was too long. I thought it was the flashbacks. It was very obvious. It's the same character. It's the same actors. You're basically introducing a throuple at the end of this episode. So
That's true.
Thank you. I'm giving it a 3. I didn't like it.
You didn't like it. All right. Well, with our scores of 3, 4, 5, we shall close the book on Archie Dale to Riverdale and Back Again, and we'll never mention that show again.
Yeah.
But join us next time, won't you please, when we watch the pilot episode of paid programming, Icelandic Ultra Blue. Here's a little something to wet your whistle. Learn about a revolutionary new drug in this informative infomercial. You can find the entire episode of paid programming Icelandic Ultra Blue by subscribing to Couch Pilots on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube. Lorelai.
You know what to do, too.
Thank you very much. Many ways to contact the show, but as we neglect them, sometimes those ways go away. Like, remember we had that phone number you could call? It doesn't exist anymore. It's probably been gone like a year now.
Almost.
Good Lord. Oh, you know the date?
No, I was just almost, I would think.
Send us an email at couchpilotspodcast@gmail.com. It's a real website. I talked to that Janet Perlman through email.
Yeah.
You could be the next Janet Perlman. I mean, probably.
And maybe you can actually mention me and Blake's name.
Oh,
Thank you.
That would be great, wouldn't it? Go to couchpilotspodcast.com. It's a real website. I can't make that up. I don't know how to code, turns out.
I'm not a coder either.
But if you go there, you can listen to all of our past episodes. There's also links to our Facebook and Twitter, which we do actively use. There's also Patreon.com. It's a website where you, a patron, can give me, an artist, and I use that word liberally. You can give me some of your money. And I want to have some of your money because I like to spend it. That's how I've said it before. I use money for all my goods and services.
Bro, that's all you can do anymore.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. We're almost completely out of the bartering system, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's all currency.
Right.
Anyway, this is the part of the show where we do say, Blake, tell us a little bit about the upcoming CouchCon.
Yeah, CouchCon, big announcements all through this whole season. Today we're going to announce that at CouchCon 2023, the world premiere of our pilot television show, which was written and produced by Chris Tuckley, we are going to show the first episode.
Okay, I'm very excited about that. That's going to get into production soon, it sounds like. All right. Thank you for that. That was a tremendous Christmas present. That guy always comes through.
He kills it every year.
Unbelievable. Hey, Lorelai, this is the part of the show where we do thank our guests, but we also, lately I've been trying to ask guests what they do for themselves, if anything, creatively. Now, you're obviously in school, you have a part-time job, you have an active social life. Do you have time for anything that you want to do creatively for yourself?
Not recently, but for a while, it was a really long period of time where it was school all week, and then after I would hang out with you on the weekends. Usually on Sunday, I wouldn't have plans with anybody. I'd just be by myself. So it would be like a self-care day. So I wouldn't worry.
Which day was a self-care day?
Sunday.
After I would drop you off?
Yeah.
You mean? Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't worry about homework, or unless it was a lot to do, then yes. But if it was a little something, I didn't really worry about it. I'd usually try to get that done at school, but I wouldn't worry about it. I would just take a shower, be by myself, stuff like that.
Just chill.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be on my phone. I'd either just like watch TV, go to sleep. You won't catch me reading a book, so I won't lie.
Just like your old man.
Or just hanging out with family, just being just in the house, being home.
Well, and that's kind of changed with you having a vehicle and a job, right?
Yes.
Ever since that, I've spent less time with her, but that's to be expected when a child starts to grow up. And I will say that a lot of people would say, "Oh, you got a girl, it's easy," and then it starts to get real tough. That's never been my experience with my daughter. I count myself to be very lucky to have the relationship I have with you. I am very fortunate. And I want you to know how proud I am of you, and I love you very much. And I'm so grateful that you still entertain me by coming on to do this show.
That is so sweet, because I feel the exact same.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very lucky to have you in my life. And I honestly, I will say this. I know I tell him too, but I'm very lucky to have Blake in my life too. So thank you very much. I love you.
He just didn't want you to feel left out.
That's
I
not
appreciate.
no, that's
Laura,
not true at all.
Fine.
I joke, I kid.
I am honored that I was in the moment. That was a nice moment.
I love you both very much. This pilot may have been rough, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again